If you are an American and you are thinking about dating a Colombian, stop for a second and listen carefully. Because what you imagine as a paradise of passion, salsa dancing, and endless romance might very well turn into one of the most intense, consuming, and complicated experiences of your life. Welcome to Cultural Clashes, the channel where we reveal the raw truth about what really happens when love crosses borders. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, drop your comment, and share this video. Because after hearing this story, you will want to tell us, could you survive dating a Colombian? At first glance, Colombians are magnetic. They are known for their warmth, their beauty, their rhythm, and their charm. Americans who meet Colombians often fall head over heels, enchanted by their vibrant personalities, expressive affection, and passion for life. But beneath that charm lies a culture shaped by tradition, family honor, intensity in love, and expectations that many Americans find overwhelming. What feels irresistible at first can quickly become exhausting. Let's imagine a couple. Matthew, a 34-year-old American from Miami, meets Valeria, a 27-year-old Colombian from Medellin. From the first moment, Matthew is hooked. Valeria is lively, confident, and absolutely radiant. She dances with fire, she speaks with passion, and she makes him feel like the most important man in the room. Valeria, in turn, is charmed by Matthew's calmness, his independence, and his playful American style. Their first dates feel like a movie, nights of dancing, endless laughter, and unforgettable chemistry. Matthew thinks he has found the love of his life. Valeria feels like she has found stability and adventure at the same time, but soon, reality sets in. The first clash comes from family involvement. In America, relationships are often private between two people. Families give opinions, but they don't run the relationship. In Colombia, family is everything. Valeria expects Matthew to spend time with her parents, her siblings, and even her extended family almost every weekend. Sunday lunches are sacred. Holidays are spent with large groups, sometimes with neighbors and family friends included. At first, Matthew thinks it's charming, but soon he feels suffocated. He wants private time, trips alone, independence. Valeria doesn't understand why he resists. For her, love is proven by embracing her family. For him, family feels like intrusion. Then comes jealousy. Colombians are passionate, and with passion comes possessiveness. Valeria expects Matthew to be vigilant, to show jealousy when other men look at her. For her, jealousy is a sign of love, proof that he cares. Matthew, raised in a culture where jealousy is seen as insecurity, stays calm. He trusts her. But Valeria interprets this calmness as lack of interest. When he doesn't react, she feels hurt. When he tries to explain that he trusts her, she doesn't buy it. In her world, love without jealousy is suspicious. In his, love without trust is meaningless. Gender roles create another battlefield. Matthew is used to equality, splitting bills, sharing responsibilities, encouraging independence. Valeria, while modern in many ways, still carries expectations shaped by Colombian tradition. She expects him to take the lead, to pay for dates, to show he is a provider. When he suggests splitting costs, she feels disappointed. For her, a man proves his seriousness through generosity. For him, equality is respect. What he calls fairness, she calls weakness. What she calls devotion, he calls control. Even their communication styles clash. Americans are direct but often soften criticism. Colombians are expressive, emotional, and sometimes explosive. When Valeria is upset, she raises her voice, demands attention, and expresses herself with fire. For her, that intensity is proof of passion. For Matthew, it feels like chaos. He prefers calm discussions, logical arguments, and compromises. His calmness makes her feel ignored. Her intensity makes him feel attacked. Neither feels understood. Social life adds more conflict. Matthew enjoys quiet evenings, small groups, and sometimes just staying home. Valeria thrives on parties, music, dancing, and socializing. For her, life without fiesta is empty. When Matthew refuses to go out, she feels abandoned. When she drags him to yet another party, he feels drained. What she calls joy, he calls exhaustion. What he calls peace, she calls boredom. Even money becomes a source of tension. In America, independence is key. Each person is responsible for themselves. In Colombia, men are often expected to show their ability to provide not only for their partner, but sometimes also for her family in times of need. When Valeria hints at helping her parents financially, Matthew is shocked. He believes relationships are about two people, not about supporting extended families. For her, his hesitation looks like selfishness. For him, her expectations feel like exploitation. Religion and tradition also play a role. Many Colombians are deeply religious, with Catholic values shaping family and relationships. Valeria expects Matthew to respect traditions, attending church, celebrating religious holidays, and honoring rituals. Matthew, who is more secular, struggles to connect. For him, religion is optional. For her, it is identity. When he resists, she feels he doesn't respect her roots. And then there is the emotional intensity. Colombians are passionate lovers. They love with fire, but they also fight with fire. For Valeria, if there is no intensity, there is no love. She expects highs and lows, storms and sunshine. For Matthew, love should be steady, calm, and stable. When he avoids fights, she feels he doesn't care. When she demands more passion, he feels overwhelmed. Their love languages don't align. As weeks turn into months, the differences begin to wear them down. Matthew feels suffocated by Valeria's expectations. Family, religion, jealousy, and intensity. Valeria feels neglected by Matthew's calmness, independence, and resistance to tradition. The very qualities that attracted them now feel like barriers. This is why so many Americans are shocked when they date Colombians. At first, the warmth, the beauty, the energy, and the passion feel irresistible. But soon, Americans discover that behind the charm lies a culture of strong family ties, deep traditions, and expectations that can overwhelm anyone who isn't prepared. Love is not light in Colombia. It is heavy. It is demanding. It is consuming, and this is only the beginning. Because as the relationship deepens, the weight of culture, family, and passion only grows stronger. Love, instead of bringing them closer, begins to show how far apart they really are. Stay tuned, because in the next part, we will explore how these cultural clashes escalate when Americans and Colombians try to build a future together, and why so many of these relationships end in heartbreak. As time goes on, Matthew and Valeria's relationship shifts from exhilarating to exhausting. What began as passion and laughter now feels like a constant struggle for balance. Every cultural difference that once felt charming now feels like a test. The first ongoing battle is family loyalty. Valeria's parents expect regular visits, constant calls, and involvement in their daughter's life. They ask questions about Matthew's job, his intentions, and even his financial stability. Matthew feels judged, as if he's dating not just Valeria, but her entire family. In America, families might give advice, but ultimately the couple makes their own choices. In Colombia, the family has a seat at the table in every decision. When Matthew tries to create distance, Valeria accuses him of disrespect. For her, family approval is not optional. It is love's foundation. For him, love should stand on its own. Jealousy grows into an unavoidable storm. Valeria becomes frustrated every time Matthew chats casually with female friends. She sees his friendliness as flirting. In her world, a devoted partner should make boundaries crystal clear. For Matthew, those interactions are harmless. He cannot understand why she needs constant reassurance. Valeria, on the other hand, cannot imagine love without jealousy. To her, if he does not show it, he does not care. The more she demands, the more he feels suffocated. The more he resists, the more she feels unloved. It is a cycle neither can escape. Arguments between them become louder and more emotional. Valeria raises her voice, cries, and accuses Matthew of indifference. For her, passion in arguments proves commitment. Matthew prefers calm, rational discussions. His silence and restraint make her feel ignored, while her intensity makes him feel attacked. The clash of emotional expression turns every disagreement into a battlefield. Money continues to cause conflict. Valeria sees financial support as a man's role. When her family needs help, she expects Matthew to contribute. For him, this is unreasonable. He believes financial responsibility ends with the couple. For her, refusing to help her family is selfish. For him, being asked is unfair. What she sees as devotion, he sees as obligation. Religion and traditions place more pressure on them. Valeria insists on attending church, celebrating holidays with her community and honoring traditions. Matthew feels like an outsider, uncomfortable in ceremonies he does not understand. He begins skipping events, which offends her deeply. For her, honoring tradition is a sign of respect. For him, being forced into it feels like losing himself. Even social life becomes unbearable. Valeria thrives on parties, friends, and endless gatherings. Matthew craves quiet time, privacy, and space. Every weekend becomes a fight. When he says no to another party, she feels abandoned. When she insists, he feels drained. Their definitions of joy are incompatible. Gender expectations also grow sharper. Valeria wants Matthew to be protective, decisive, and financially stable. She interprets his desire for equality as a lack of seriousness. Matthew, however, wants partnership. He believes love should not be about roles, but about balance. For her, balance without leadership feels insecure. For him, leadership without equality feels unfair. Over time, the relationship feels less like love and more like endurance. Matthew feels trapped in a cycle of demands. Family, religion, finances, jealousy, and social obligations. Valeria feels constantly disappointed by his independence, his calmness, and his resistance to tradition. Both feel misunderstood. This is the reality many Americans face when dating Colombians. At first, the warmth, the beauty, the energy, and the passion are irresistible. But soon, they discover that behind the charm lies a culture of intensity, loyalty, and expectation that can overwhelm anyone unprepared. Love in Colombia is not light. It is heavy, consuming, and full of fire. Does that mean it never works? Not at all. Some couples survive. Some Americans adapt, learning to embrace Colombian traditions, family bonds, and intensity. Some Colombians adjust, accepting independence, equality, and calmness. But these relationships require patience, compromise, and resilience that most are not ready for. Most of these romances collapse not because of a lack of love, but because love alone is not enough. Americans see love as freedom, independence, and comfort. Colombians see love as passion, family, and sacrifice. Both are right, but together they clash. So should Americans date Colombians? Only if they are ready to trade independence for loyalty, privacy for family, and calmness for fire. Only if they are prepared to live in a world where love is intense, demanding, and consuming. Because dating a Colombian is not just romance, it is survival, devotion, and fire all at once. Unless you are ready to endure that storm, maybe you should think twice before stepping into it. So what do you think? Would you survive dating a Colombian? Or would the jealousy, the family pressure, and the endless intensity break you before love could last? Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to Cultural Clashes, and spread this story. Because when cultures collide, love is never simple. It is always a battlefield between worlds.